Papoose is the wealthiest man that I've been with. And that's like no faking. I haven't paid for a flight, a hotel, a fucking purse, nothing. I don't know how long. Food. He take care of everything.
It began quietly, almost imperceptibly. The kind of story that first exists in whispers, social media speculation, and subtle tension before it erupts into full public consciousness. At first, there was only a number, 900,000. On its own, it meant little. Numbers circulate online every day, often stripped of context and meaning. But when that figure became associated with three highly recognizable names, Remy Ma, Papoose, and Claressa Shields, it instantly transformed from an abstract figure into a source of widespread intrigue and concern. Fans of all three personalities were stunned. Remy Ma and Papoose had spent decades cultivating reputations rooted in loyalty, resilience, and stability within hip-hop culture. Their relationship was often celebrated as a rare example of endurance and mutual respect, surviving prison sentences, career highs and lows, and relentless public scrutiny. Claressa Shields, on the other hand, had built her public identity on discipline, focus, and control. As a world-class athlete, she was known for precision, determination, and a refusal to be distracted by noise or controversy. Seeing these three figures pulled into the same narrative felt jarring, almost surreal. What followed was a rapidly evolving story layered with financial confusion, emotional tension, and intense public speculation. At the center of it all was Claressa Shields' prolonged silence, an absence of comment that only deepened public curiosity. In a digital age where immediate reactions are expected, silence often feels louder than speech. Every day that passed without clarification fueled further discussion, theories, and assumptions. The history of Remy Ma and Papoose gave the story its initial weight. Together, they were perceived as unshakable. Their bond had been tested repeatedly by circumstances that would have fractured most relationships. Yet they remained publicly united. Fans admired them not just as artists, but as partners whose loyalty appeared unwavering. Allegations tied to financial misconduct clashed sharply with that image, creating immediate cognitive dissonance for their supporters. The internet responded predictably, swiftly, loudly, and with little patience for nuance. Online commentators began building timelines, assembling screenshots, and filling in gaps with speculation. Much of the information circulating was incomplete, unverified, or stripped of context. Yet it spread rapidly. Social media transformed into a courtroom where public opinion was rendered long before facts could be fully established. Every pause, ambiguous statement, or perceived omission was treated as evidence of guilt or deception. Claressa Shields, whose name had been linked to the situation early on, became a focal point of both curiosity and sympathy. Unlike Remy Ma and Papoose, she did not have a history of public feuds or celebrity drama. Her reputation was rooted in discipline and personal accountability. For many observers, her involvement felt out of character, making the allegations even more confusing. What stood out most, however, was her refusal to immediately respond. Weeks passed as speculation intensified. Discussions erupted across platforms, narratives hardened, and sides were chosen. Yet Claressa remained silent, seemingly choosing to process the situation privately rather than engage in what had become a chaotic public spectacle. Whether intentional or instinctive, her restraint only heightened intrigue. In a culture that rewards instant reactions, waiting to speak can be interpreted as avoidance or strength, depending on perspective. The 900,000 allegation itself became a puzzle the public was desperate to solve. No official documentation was released. No formal confirmación emerged. Still, screenshots and fragments of alleged conversations circulated widely, each framed as proof of mismanagement, betrayal, or dishonesty. The lack of verified information did little to slow the conversation. Instead, it accelerated it. Assumptions filled the void left by silence. Supporters of Remy Ma and Papoose quickly came to their defense, citing decades of integrity and consistency. Others aligned with Claressa Shields, interpreting her silence, and later her response, as evidence that she had been wronged. What may have begun as a private dispute was now a public spectacle, magnified by viral commentary and the human instinct to choose sides when clarity is absent. For Claressa, the stakes extended beyond finances or reputation. When she finally addressed the situation, she framed it as an issue of trust that had been challenged, strained, and ultimately fractured. Her statement was notable not for anger or accusation, but for its measured tone and emotional honesty. She spoke deliberately, explaining how miscommunication and a lack of transparency had allowed confusion to escalate into emotional strain. She emphasized that the issue was never solely about money. It was about expectations, responsibility, and accountability. Her words resonated precisely because they avoided performative outrage. Instead, they reflected the weight of a situation she had been carrying privately while public narratives spiraled beyond her control. As Claressa's statement circulated, the narrative began to shift. Those who had initially dismissed her perspective paused to listen. Many realized that the story was not as simple as financial mismanagement or betrayal. There was an emotional dimension that could not be ignored. Her calm yet piercing articulation reframed the discussion, reminding audiences that emotional damage often outweighs material loss. Her message resonated on a universal level. Most people have experienced situations where trust was tested, where clarity came too late, or where silence allowed misunderstandings to grow. That relatability elevated the story beyond celebrity drama into something more human and complex. Meanwhile, Remy Ma and Papoose's delayed or minimal responses added another layer of tension. To some observers, their silence appeared strategic, a means of avoiding legal missteps or further escalation. To others, it felt defensive or dismissive. Every public appearance, social media post, or carefully worded comment was scrutinized and compared against Claressa's narrative. This dynamic created a tension that felt almost cinematic. The public watched in real time, interpreting gaps and gestures as meaningful clues. Gradually, the focus shifted from a dispute over money to a deeper examination of perception, reputation, and the consequences of withholding words in the age of constant connectivity. Claressa's tone and intent were central to this shift. She did not speak to attack. She spoke to clarify. Her goal was not to generate sympathy, but to reclaim her voice in a situation where assumptions had piled up unchecked. She positioned herself not as a participant in drama, but as someone responding to a narrative that had gone public without her consent. Social media reacted with predictable intensity. Fans divided into factions. One side emphasized the long-standing legacy of Remy Ma and Papoose, defending them against what they viewed as unfair judgment. Another praised Claressa's transparency and composure, highlighting the emotional truth in her words. Memes, viral clips, and endless discussion threads proliferated, amplifying even the smallest details. The virality of the story was driven not just by celebrity intrigue, but by its emotional core. Trust versus assumption, silence versus speech, reputation versus perception. Beneath the spectacle, the emotional cost for all involved was significant. Claressa's voice carried the weight of frustration and disappointment. For Remy Ma and Papoose, each misinterpreted silence added pressure few could truly anticipate. Gradually, the number 900,000 became shorthand for conflict, suspicion, and the cascading consequences of miscommunication. The emotional narrative eclipsed the financial one, drawing audiences in because it felt personal and relatable. The situation also highlighted the realities of modern celebrity culture, where perception often replaces fact. Online narratives moved faster than verified information, and assumptions hardened into beliefs. In this environment, even careful communication can be misunderstood. Claressa's restraint and precision underscored the difficulty of maintaining personal integrity under relentless public scrutiny. Accountability emerged as a central theme. Claressa emphasized understanding over blame, explaining how silence and assumption had amplified emotional damage that might have been avoided through openness. Her emphasis resonated because it reflected a universal truth. Misunderstandings grow when communication fails, and trust erodes when expectations remain unspoken. By the time her statement fully circulated, the story had evolved into a broader exploration of human relationships under pressure. There was no clear villain, no definitive resolution, only intersecting perspectives shaped by emotion, timing, and perception. The audience itself became part of the narrative. Social media users, influencers, and fans transformed a private dispute into a collective emotional experience. Every comment contributed to a story larger than any one individual. Yet at its center remained Claressa's measured voice, reminding viewers that real people were navigating real emotional consequences. Ultimately, the 900,000 drama was not just about money, it was about trust, communication, and the weight of silence. It served as a reminder that public narratives often oversimplify complex relationships, and that emotional truths are rarely captured fully in headlines or viral clips. Claressa Shields' calm, deliberate voice grounded the story, cutting through speculation and emphasizing accountability over accusation.